Well, hello. My name is Gary Davis. I'm your other instructor in the Policy, Politics, and Law of Higher Education course. And I'm happy to have a chance to say a personal hello to all the members of the class. As we enter week number 4, we're going to be remembering what we've learned about the law and then moving also into the area of policy. Politics comes next, and then at the end of the course we'll put them all together. Policy is a general rule that provides guidelines for human behavior. And in this course we're talking about policy in two different dimensions. One dimension, of course, is the internal policies of the college or the university. I'll tend to use the word university just as a shorthand, but anytime I say university, I might just as well have used the word college. We're talking about institutions that have their own cultures, and they summarize those cultures in written format called policies. Policies are ultimately the responsibility of the board, although the board doesn't have to be integrally involved in the formation of some of the more minute policies of an institution. We'll talk about that next week. Ultimately, though, the board is responsible for the policies, and as you saw in the Lopez case, the courts hold the institutions responsible when they don't know their own policies and don't follow their own policies. That's a very dangerous course for any college or university to embark upon. We're going to talk in this week, the 4th week, about policies, though, in a larger dimension, not within the college or within the university, but policies as kind of a shorthand for the values, the social values of society that embraces the university or the college. The university or the college is not an island. It's affected by the laws that surround it. We've seen that in the first 3 weeks of the course. The laws are sometimes local ordinances, sometimes they're state laws, sometimes they're federal laws, and they can be enacted by a legislature or they can be the result of case law where an issue comes to trial and is adjudicated by a court, sometimes with the jury opinion. These laws, whether they be statutory laws enacted by a legislature or case laws as the result of some trial someplace that takes precedent then in the land, the decisions of these courts and the statutes enacted by legislators and by the Congress of the United States embrace the college and or the university and affect what it can do. And this is kind of my graphic representation of that. The university or the college has its internal policies and maybe would prefer to operate as an island, but it cannot, because the laws of the land circumscribe the college or the university, and the university has to function within the laws of the land. Then beyond the laws of the land, there are the social values of the society in which the university finds itself functioning. And you'll find these social values to be different depending on what part of the country you're in. In the West, for example, the use and display of arms is much more readily accepted than it is on the East Coast, and so you'll find the social values supporting gun ownership and the overt celebration, really, of the Second Amendment right to bear arms, much less so in the East. Whether the law makes this distinction or not, the culture does, and the culture has these values and sometimes impinges upon the law, and you'll find many more gun control laws, for example, on the East Coast than you will on the West Coast, or maybe I should say the mountain states. So sometimes the social values, this outer ring is meant to stand for the social values of the society. Sometimes they come to bear on the law, and the law is changed to reflect the social values. One of the examples of that is academic freedom. There was a series of incidents in the United States, starting with the First World War, in which the professors at public universities were terminated because they taught the Germanic language, for example, and we were at war with Germany. there were countervailing social values that said in the community surrounding the university that wasn't right, that the university needed to have its independence when it came to research and teaching. And so at first informally and then formally through the passage of laws and through case law, the legal rights of the tenured and the academically free professor were established in the United States. So there's always, beyond the laws of the day, an active conversation going on in society, and it's not a one-dimensional conversation. Often in society you'll have countervailing forces who are debating each other. Sometimes it's more than just two sides to the argument. Sometimes it's multi-dimensional conversations that go on here in society, and they tend to break out into interest groups which try to influence not only the law, but sometimes in the absence of the law, the university itself. For instance, Mothers Against Drunk Driving might spend more time trying to influence behavior of college students right on the campus than actually changing the laws of the state. Maybe it's too much to ask that the campuses be dry, and knowing that kind of law probably could never be passed, the Mothers Against Drunk Driving bring their programs directly to the university and try to influence the way that the university student life is carried out on a day-to-day basis. So this week what I would like you to do is to first of all start looking at Inside Higher Education every day. You can Google that and go to that electronic newsletter and see what's happening right now in the United States in terms of these social forces that are trying to bring about changes, not only in the law, sometimes they try to change the law, but also directly in the university or the college. A couple of examples are the Lumina Foundation, the Bill Gates Foundation. I already mentioned Mothers Against Drunk Driving. You'll find several stories in Inside Higher Education about groups out here in the larger society that are trying to bring their values into play on the university or the college campus. And what I would like you to do, the only assignment for this week, is to find one of these organizations and to describe what it's trying to do in terms of changing the university in one way or another, or the college. And then I also want you to assess the success of the organization, this interest group, whatever interest group you choose, and you can choose whichever one you'd like. But I want you not only to describe what they're trying to do in terms of bringing about change in the university, but also I want you to assess how successful they've been, and then to tell me why you think they've been successful, or why maybe they've not been successful in their efforts so far. This is an assignment that's really wide open, leaving it to you to choose the group that you might have some special interest in. And then, and by the way, you can research groups that you have strong negative feelings about. There are organizations, for example, that are trying to bring a balance of opinion into the university classroom, so that conservative opinions are brought forth as often as liberal or progressive ones. You can read about that on the web, and you can research one of those organizations if you'd like. The Academic Bill of Rights is the key phrase there, and there are several colleges and universities in the United States that have had direct experience with this organization, which lies outside the immediate legal framework of the college or university. These values reflect the interest group that has devoted itself to bringing these values to the university or to the college. So this is your assignment for this week. If you have any questions about the organization that you've chosen, let me know. I will ask you to do this. Go on to the discussion portion of the website, the Angel website, and share with your fellow students in one way or another, just by sending an email to all the other students if you'd like, a brief description of the organization that you've selected. I think it would be interesting for the members of the class to know what other people are writing about. You don't have to give them the whole 9 yards, and I'm asking you to do this fairly early in the game, early in the week, and not wait until the end of the week to share your discovery of an organization in a larger society that's trying to influence in one way or another the way the university or the college functions. That way we'll know what each other is working on, and we'll be able to, if we wish, follow up sometime either during this course or later on during the program, the doctoral program, with those who have taken the time to research one of these external agencies. So this week is power. It's not power in a legal sense, it's power in a social values sense, bringing to bear social policy from the outside, from the larger society, on the institution. One of the things to look for when you evaluate the success of these groups is the fact that the university is not necessarily going to accept everything that's brought to it by these external agencies. For one thing, sometimes different external agencies want the university to move in opposite directions, so the university really isn't free to embrace both initiatives. The university has its own set of values, and how it receives and reacts to the pressures that it receives from the outside, from these external agencies, is going to be very interesting to you, I think. The NCAA, for example, has tried to control athletics, intercollegiate athletics on the university campuses, but sometimes, as Coach Bobby Knight demonstrated at Indiana, there's pushback, and it isn't only Bobby Knight who's pushed back on some of these initiatives from the external world. It happens every day. You'll see some of that in your reading of Inside Higher Education. I hope you'll find that interesting. So that's the assignment for week number 4. The assignment is due on Sunday night at midnight. If you have any questions or would like to contact me, you're free to do that. My telephone number, I think you already know, but I'll put it up here anyway, is 217-217, that's a 2, 737-3359. You can also contact me by email using the Angel system, and we can talk about the part of the assignment that you're needing some help with, if indeed you need the help. I'm looking for the assignments to be turned in, all of them, by Sunday night at midnight, and I'll try to get the grades back to you as soon after that as I can. That's it for week number 4. I'll talk to you later down the road.